Another ad, you say?
Another ad it is.
This one is a special ad to remind all those listening, or may just be starting to listen, that we are traveling to Barcelona 2026 to complete the Barcelona Marathon. This is your sign to sign up for Barcelona Marathon in March of next year. You can visit www.anygivenrunday.com, go to our marathon trip page, and you can look at the trip, book the trip, and get involved with us as we travel. Next year's places are limited. We have increased places, but they will sell out quick. So please ensure to get booked on, and we will see you in Barcelona. Let's get back to the episode.
PBs not included. Easy ye, how are we?
Shawnee, I'm under a little bit of pressure.
Oh.
Well, it's launch day for the whole marathon trip, for the general sale. So there was a lot of getting ready. We already have, am I allowed to say the numbers?
Oh, it's your baby. Work away.
We already have 27 people on the bus, and general sale has only started today. So how them 27 get on the bus, I don't know. But
so what is the marathon trip? For someone listening for first time, what is this marathon trip? Are we going down to Galway in October? Are we doing a Limerick run? Where are we going? What are we doing?
We are going to Barcelona in March of next year, 2026, to take on the Barcelona Marathon once again. We did such a successful trip last year. We had a great trip with a great bunch of people, a lot of whom are coming back with us, which we're delighted to see. And a lot of new names as well have showed up and are looking to take part. So this trip is just sign up and forget about it. Well, obviously run in between. Don't do an Eric and just forget totally about it until the week of. So flights, accommodation, transport, your dinner after the marathon, 2 of our glorious t-shirts, one for running in, one for drinking in, and all the rest in between. That's what's included on our magical trip. We love to see people coming with their other halves, better halves. I think we even have some kiddies on this trip as well. Great to have supporters travel with us as well. It doesn't just have to be runners. It's phenomenal. I'm excited. It's a busy time, but it's a good complaint to be busy with the amount of people signing up so far. These are only going to be on sale for 3 weeks. After that, we can't guarantee prices of flights. So if you're thinking of joining, now is the time. And when they're gone, they're gone. And last year it was a week. This year, we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. I'm sure some people listening to this after doing the Cork Marathon after the weekend and going, oh, the marathon's buzzed there. What am I going to build to next? And that could be the Barcelona Marathon next March.
Yeah, if you're in Cork and you've done Cork and you're looking for another marathon, you have to do it with us.
You have to.
Forget about Dublin. Actually, if you could let go of your
We can't get Dublin now if you haven't got a Dublin ticket.
Yeah, if you haven't got Dublin, come with us. We'll get you training through the winter, which is great. It's miserable. But it's great because you're fit then for the start of the year and it leads you in nicely into the Cork Marathon. So if you've completed Cork Marathon, you're looking to get away with people, keep yourself training through the winter as well. And it gives you a good target for March of next year. We would love to see you on our trip. So I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm jealous actually of Cork. I was thinking about it today. Well, actually, I was doing a long run today. It's supposed to be a long run. And my heart rate after 5K was like 160. I was like, oh no, I am tired. And then I got up to 170 by the time I hit 9K. I was like, well, I'm not doing less than 10. So it can say what it says, but I'm not stopping until I hit 10. So an hour and 45 turned into an hour. So I was thinking of Cork and then thinking the heat. It was 22 degrees at 5 o'clock this morning. And I was like, it was about that the day I did Cork and I nearly died. And I don't know what the weather was like at home today. I actually didn't check the weather. It looked like a nice day.
I'm looking outside. It's a very nice day, but that's in Kildare. I'm not too sure what it is in Cork. It's been on and off with rain all weekend.
Hopefully they got a really nice day. It is a great event. Cork is a nice one. It's a nice city. It's a good, if you've missed it this year and they do start looking to sell tickets next year, if you're looking for a good marathon in Ireland, Cork is a great one. And it is great crack before, during and after. It's a great crowd, great support. So we really hope it went super well for anyone who was doing that. We know a lot of people who are taking part this weekend and we hope you got the times and everything you deserved. Speaking of good marathons, Sean.
Good marathons. Good full 42.2 kilometer marathons or a bit to talk about, Eric?
Not those kind of marathons, the mini marathons. A big shout out to my sister, Jennifer, who's taken on the women's mini marathon along with so many other people who are not in Cork I had another row with me mum. I know she listens. Who has told me she's done 5 marathons.
5?
So
on this weekend, the whole marathon, mini marathon, you have to put it to bed, Eric, and just congratulate your mom on her 5 marathons.
Ma'am,
She's listening.
Congratulate on completing the same amount of marathons as me. Actually, no. I think I've done more now, ma'am. So that's it. You have to take part next year. Another 2 years of doing marathons just to keep up. But no, well done to all those who are taking part in the women's mini marathon. I believe, Sean, it's 20,000 plus. So it's a massive run, and a huge congratulations to anyone who has taken part. And a big congratulations to my sister who's taken on, and hopefully the race, I don't know the result right now, but the race goes well for everyone involved.
Speaking of events this past weekend, Triathlon was on this weekend, and sure, that's when people start thinking about building towards Ironman's different runs. And it's one of those events that I have a lot of respect for. One of the girls in the gym, Lisa, she did her first Triathlon event down there. And like, even listening to yourself talking about when you did Triathlon, at the start of the year, back in December, you make all these plans. Most people, when they make up plans, not most people that are inexperienced doing triathlons, the swimming, there's no swimming in them. Like, they can't swim a length or anything like that. And I remember you talking about before, trying to get your first length on a swim. And like, we have a podcast a couple of weeks where someone puts it perfectly. They're like, when you cycle more, you get better. When you run more, you get better. You don't necessarily get better the more you swim if you don't have a technique down. It's just the hardest part for us to get down. And most guests talk about getting that swimming is always the weakest part. So for anyone that tried to tie over the weekend and got to that stage where they got comfortable in the river barrow and got to swim in and going through that, we were going swimming in the pool, you can see down, and you're in the river, you can't see down. And like, hearing you talk about with the year you did it, it's just, I have so much respect for people that build towards their first triathlon, especially when the swimming is not there.
Yeah, and you know what? It is a fantastic event. The more races you do, the more they all kind of blend into one. The more marathons you do, the more. Was it that year I ran this, or was it that year? I will never forget Triathlon. My first ever triathlon, Olympic distance, and do you know what? It was, at the time, probably the hardest thing I ever did. It was a massive accomplishment because it is in a river, but it's that fear of putting your head into the water and not seeing the tiles of a pool. You know, it's, for me, my first real attempt at open water swimming. And yeah, like, I'll always remember it. So I do have there's huge graw there for that one. It is kind of signifies the start of the season as well. So for all those in triathlon clubs, all the triathletes who've been on this podcast, we do wish you well for the season ahead. Some of you I see in some previous guests going head to head, second and third in a tie as well. Big well done to you guys. And I hope the season ahead is good, competitive, because, you know, competition is what needed to keep you strong. And best luck to everyone who's now locked in for the triathlon season as well. And as we look forward to Dublin Marathon again, people are starting to think of training blocks for what's to come for October this year.
Well, on Wednesday morning, I was coaching in the gym, and it was the first time in over, I actually don't know how long, where I was able to push off my right foot alone and be on my toes without any pain at all in the Achilles. It lasted half a day and the pain came a little bit later, but that was the first time I had no pain. So I'm already thinking ahead to training blocks. I'm like, look, I'm going to be smart. Dublin Marathon this year. So that's all I've got to talk about right now as I build towards my own running. But this week in the podcast, we've got a guest to talk. I love this episode because it's a little bit different. We get to talk about just different elements of running as opposed to just, races themselves. Our next guest, Cian, has been to all different races around the country, which is great to hear about. And we get to talk about different elements we normally talk about running and learn about different types of running shoes. And here, Eric, I have to say, but I'm going to no context to this, never ask a podcast guest to show their feet in the podcast again.
Hey, listen, everyone has their things, Sean. I just wanted to know what I wanted to know. But it's a great episode with a great guy, good fun episode as well. It's one, again, for people who have just got into running and to realise your potential and to enjoy just the process, I suppose, of what it means to be healthy and to be consistent. And it's always a common theme in it all, but I think we need no more introduction. I think it's time for us to shut up. Do go on to anygivenrunday.com and do look at our Barcelona trip under marathon trips, anygivenrunday.com. And now it's time for this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast.
Let's go. Our next guest on the Any Given Run Day podcast is a sub 3 hour marathon runner who recently came third in the Great Ireland Run with an incredible 33-minute 57-second time, second in the Westport half marathon, and the winner of another way 5k. If you don't know him from his running content, including that video of him wrecking the Dublin half marathon this year in the bike that we all saw, you might know him as the owner of 35 Vintage in Fade Street. Cian Charlton, welcome to this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. How are you getting on?
That was the crack, lads. I wasn't expecting that. I forgot that you were going to do that intro thing. So it was great. That sound.
He's almost impressive, isn't he, Cian?
I did my homework on the whole 35 Vintage, and before we hit the record button, Eric's like, "Here, is that your wardrobe in the background? And what's going on there, pal?"
Yeah, Cian just has this rack of clothes that looks great. I was getting a little zoom in. I was like, what's going on?
Personal wardrobe, it comes in handy a lot of the time. You just borrow stuff, you know.
Cian's always ready for a night out after work. Cian, you are very welcome to this week's episode. Like we do with every guest, we've seen and we have saw and all of the things you have done, which have been fantastic in terms of your influence on social media. As Shauna said, you're quite an accomplished runner. Apparently, depends on who showed up to these races, Cian. We'll get into that later. What have you? What got you into running? What got you into sport in general?
I'd say I've always been into sport, as in since I was a young fella, I was playing football, playing soccer, doing a bit of running, doing a bits and bobs, like running to the more, not that I take it too seriously just yet, but over the past maybe 16 to 19 months, like I've been taking, say, the past year and a half, I did Rome Marathon. And after that, I was like, I can do a bit better than that now. And I got into the running then, probably the past year and a half, but I've always tipped away at it.
So hold on a minute. I'm trying not to swear so we don't have to put explicit on this. Hold on a minute. You're only doing this a year and a half.
Yeah, properly like training a year and a half. Yeah, I did nearly a year.
My God, it is phenomenal. I understand the bug of doing a marathon and stuff. Let's go back to team training and GAA and the foundational level, because we've had a lot of people who play GAA or they were involved in athletics, they were in dancers, they were this, that, and the other from a foundational age. Transitioning to running when, I suppose, the commitments, or you, like yourself, you run a business, sometimes the commitment of GAA can be a hell of a lot. And then people might move away from town, they might move away from wherever for work, for example, you might have done, I have done. Running then becomes a natural fallback. But what did you notice most about the transition from sports, and what foundation did the sports and did the GAA give you? Because let's be honest, you carry the fitness, you just transitioned it into running. So what foundation level do you think it had?
I'll start that I wasn't a great footballer at all. I was on the bench, so like never a great footballer, but I always kind of liked the sport. Probably had a little bit of not natural fitness, but I always liked running. So I'd be like playing half back, and that was like my position up until I went to college. So I played all the way through the minor ages up to university. I did sports science in DCU for 4 years. So once I went to college, I wasn't traveling back to Mayo, back to Kilshima to train on a Tuesday evening with the price of diesel and all that kind of stuff. I was too busy partying, enjoying myself up in college. So
and the drinking bands would have got you. They would have got you, Cian.
You know, it catches us all. I suppose, to be honest, like I was running. Like it'd be a lie to say I was running a year and a half, but like when I was in school, I would have been doing the community games. I would have been doing the school's athletics. I would have been doing cross country and stuff like that. But just when you ask
anything to get out of school, like the rest of us,
that was the only reason. Because that was the reason why you had the full day off heading up to Athlone or whatever for the school's athletics. I was like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'll do the 800-meter walk or the 2K walk.
I did the walk. I was the under 12 Leinster champion. I was about 2 foot taller than everyone. It wasn't because I had ability.
No, whatever the quickest thing was. What's the shortest and easiest thing I can do? The 100-meter sprint. Yeah, sound. Get absolutely crushed by a load of lads from all over the country in the 100-meter sprint. I think I did the 400 one year as well. And shot put, of all things, with my little arms. Athletics.
But it is good, though. And I know we joke and we jest, but it is... You have said you aren't a runner. I have said I'm not a runner. And yet we talk about these times we were just thrown into sport and just did it to do sport and be involved and move and get involved. When you look at how you were through your ages and you come into this, I only started running 18 months ago. What was that major shift for you to go, do you know what? I've done this, I've tried this, I love being active, I want to take on a marathon? What got you into that running element?
Well, my first marathon was Rome Marathon back, I think, in March 2023. One of my good friends, Cian as well, his name's Cian as well, he's big into the running, and he needed someone to go with him to Rome for the holiday. Do you know what I mean? So he said, will you come over and do Rome Marathon? I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give that a go. I'm surely I'd be well able to do a marathon. I think I had done I'd be able to do a 10K fairly easily enough. And I tip away with a few training runs every now and again, just like a couple of kilometers. I was like, I'll train for a marathon, be something to do. And a bit of a holiday to keep him company. So I started to train. I think I did maybe a 12-week training block. And by all means, it was, I was walking for some of the marathon. I remember specifically actually stopping at 35K. They had a barbecue. So I stopped and had a burger and some chicken skewers for myself up the hill with 7 walking at the water stops. Like, I was really just doing it to enjoy it. And that was my first marathon kind of experience and my first proper race as such. Like, do you know what I mean? Straight into the deep end. And then after that, I was like, I really liked it. I really enjoyed the training. It was me against me compared to going back to your first question with the GAA or soccer team sports. Because I wasn't great, you'd be getting given out by your teammates. Will you catch the ball? And with the running, you're kind of liable to do it yourself. So that's what I kind of enjoyed. And I'm that bit older as well. So to come back and have your own discipline, and I'm kind of used to doing stuff by myself with the business. So yeah, that's probably what got me going.
Cian, a 4-hour, 25-minute marathon for your first marathon while having your dinner in the middle of it and going to a barbecue. It's not a bad time when you put that part into it. Myself and Eric are actually pretty jealous.
4-course meal at 35K, a bit of vino and everything, Cian, was it?
Didn't know you were doing the wine marathon out there in Rome.
Plenty afterwards.
After that marathon, then did you just get that feel good feeling at the end of the race that you went, okay, I'm going to do more of these things, or did you go, actually, I've got a point to prove, and then it was like, I'm signed up for the next marathon, or was it like, I'm going to build yourself up 5Ks, 10Ks? What went through your mind after that first one?
Yeah, a bit of both. I was like, my friend Cian had ran like 3:09 or something, like really fast. And at that time, I was like, that is insane running. Like, how could you possibly do that? And I was just blown away by him. And I remember finishing the marathon, I mean, like an hour and a half after him, the lads are waiting for me, had 2 or 3 pints. And I met them at the bar. And there's a couple of other like runners who I was chatting to. And they were like, oh, well, you only finished there. And I was like, yeah. Like, I was delighted with myself. Like, I was over the moon. I couldn't believe him after finishing a marathon. Like, you only finished there. And the look of nearly disappointment on their faces. I was like, what? Like, is that not a good time? Like, I didn't have a clue. And they were like, oh, like, we're finished like an hour and a half. And I was like, oh. And like, not that they made me feel bad, but they made me feel like, Jesus, if they can do that, why couldn't I? Do you know what I mean? So that's probably what propelled me forward. And I was like, right, I'm going to try and get into this running. And then like 3 or 4 months after that, I opened the store here in Dublin and I did the Clontarf half marathon. And I had trained a bit more seriously for that. Got my first pair of carbon shoes, was like going to send us, you know what I mean? And I think I ran that in 1:35 and I was again over the moon, couldn't believe it. Like, and then after that, I was really got the bug then. I think I made a video about that. I started making the Instagram reels and posting more running related content at that time. So just this time last year, that's when I started, like, that's when I properly like said, right, we'll give this a good lash now for a while, and really got dialed in on the running. Joined Raheny Shamrocks and stuff.
Cian, you have a post where, just to get into when you're joining Raheny, I'm assuming this is the answer to the question as you said that, but I'll ask it anyway. You have a post, you talk about your results in 2023 and 2024. Just to highlight two of the biggest ones, like difference in 5Ks between then and 2023 and 2024. The marathon, you went from a 4:25 to what we talked about at the intro here, a sub 3 hour, 2:55. And the 5K, and this is the one that really stood out to me, because when I looked at it first, I was like, hang on, was he just injured in 2023 and he did runs before? Because this didn't make sense. You had a 21:09 in 2023 and you knocked that down to a 16:23 by the end of 2024. You've since beat that time. What was the biggest change in training and mindset and running? Was it joining the club? What to get those times down that much? Like, we've seen progress, but that is absolutely insane progress in the space of a year or so.
Thanks. I think 100% the consistent training. luckily, and touch wood, I haven't been injured yet, and long may it last. So like that consistency and the more, just take it a bit more seriously, like recovering better, learning about running, consistently training, keeping the mileage up, doing speed work, doing interval sessions, training properly, I think. And that, like that, that's all down to the coaches at Raheny. They're unreal. Do you know what I mean? And just being surrounded by people who are all into the running and like bouncing ideas off them, training with them, training with more people now. I think it's just brought me on, like, and will bring anyone on tenfold.
When someone's listening to this, they're going, how the hell has he got? That's what went through my head when Sean put out the figure. So I'm going to ask, what does a week in the life of Cian look like as this new dedicated, committed runner? Like, mileage is one way to put it, but in terms of time, you know, how much time a week per day or sessions are you putting in that have taken you in? And we're talking 12 months. See, a lot of people, again, here's along with the question with a preach as well. A lot of people want to be fast like me now, and I want to be fast for the race in 6 weeks. But you've taken a year to do this and you've been really consistent, and that's the thing to remember. But what does that week look like to go from 2023 to 2024, Cian? Need fuel that keeps up with your pace? Meet Perform's Carb Gel with 30 grams of fast-acting carbs, powered by 3 fuel sources for sustained energy when it matters the most. Packed with cluster dextrin for smooth digestion and a steady release. No spikes, no crashes.
All that in a compact 40 milliliter sachet, tested under Informed Sport, so you know it's clean and competition ready. Whether you're chasing the podium or just in your next PR, Perform Carb Gel gets you there faster, longer, stronger. If you're looking to stock up, you can use the code AGR to get 20% off your order.
By listening to this advert, you are supporting Irish businesses and this Irish podcast. Time to get back to the episode.
What does it look like? Well, I don't go out anymore. Like I'm kind of packed in the drinking and the partying, which probably influences. Like, you know, I don't want to be drinking on Saturday night when I have to be up for Sunday morning if I'm either racing, which I absolutely love, or doing a long run in the park. So like, I'm sleeping better, eating well, and just training consistently. Like, I run every day, sometimes double days, loads of easy mileage. The sessions every Wednesday with the Raheny guys, Saturdays if I can. Just kind of focusing on the running, like a bit of gym work. So what my week looks like, I'm doing 70, 80K a week-ish. Leading up to Dublin Marathon, I put in a decent block. Well, actually, I got a ticket maybe 12 or 13 weeks out. I was like, right, I need to do well for this marathon. Dialed in for that 12 or 13 weeks with long runs, building up the mileage slowly. You know yourselves, like 10%, adding it on. Still working in the speed sessions as well. I was up at maybe 80, 90, 113K was my longest week, 3 weeks out from Dublin. And then ran the 255, which I was over the moon with. And then again, after that, like, recovered fairly well, was back running that week. It's just staying consistent with it. I just absolutely love it. You know what I mean? Like, I love nothing more than getting out, the feeling of getting a run done. And then with the content as well, it's great. I've loads of friends on Strava. We all like each other's stuff, commenting on each other's stuff. With the TikToks and stuff, people are very supportive on that. Same with Instagram. It's just like my thing now. It's what I really, really love as well. If I'm not working here, I'm probably out running. Do you know what I mean? So it's just kind of eating, sleeping and breathing, running, and 35 with the shop is kind of all I'm doing. So yeah, to answer your question, it's a lot of my time is spent running and training and focusing on that now. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know, but yeah.
Cian, had you just said you got really fast because you wore one of those vintage Nike tracksuits from the 80s, I would have been straight down the shop, man. I would have picked one up, no bother.
Look good, feel good, run fast, something like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Cian, your content there you touched on is phenomenal. There's so many different ways to go with this. One, I don't know how you do so much content. Like, I was scrolling through your stuff and I was like, geez, I'm have gone back loads of posts, and I checked. I was like, oh, I'm only have to go back 3 months. I'm like some of you are doing 2 videos a day, and it's not just a quick template thing and go. Like, you're talking yourself through and all the rest. One of them I watched was there's a twofold question. One on different types of runners you're wearing, and you're also getting into the barefoot shoes as well since that. So I want to know your thoughts on changing your shoes for different types of running and how you find adapting to barefoot shoes as well, and if you use them in your cycle now?
So with the barefoot things, yeah, I only started doing them about 5 or 6 weeks ago. One of the guys at Raheny used them and swears by them. He ran Dublin Marathon in them and stuff. And he just swears by them. He's a doctor. And
wow.
He was saying, man, it makes sense. Like, it makes sense for your natural foot position, arch support, stuff like that. It'll strengthen your feet, strengthen your calves, and just works up your joints well. So I said I'd give it a go. So I picked up them online, and I'm wearing them right now. I wear them as like daily standing around the shop shoes. And regarding rotation, definitely a big believer. Now, again, running is supposed to be an accessible sport. Everyone's supposed to be cheap. I probably spend more money on shoes than I should, but I have a huge selection of trainers. I have like 3 or 4 daily trainers, race day shoes, tempo shoes, all of them. So rotating them around, I really like. But I'm a big believer in switching up the shoes, because every pair feels that little bit different. So I definitely have my really easy shoes, my fairly easy shoes, my middle of the park shoes, my long runs, my race day ones, tempo ones, track shoes. Like, too many to list off. But definitely think having that rotation is really important.
Have you got them barefoot feel shoes on now? Have you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Give us a look. Are these one of these like fingers for toes type things?
Oh no, they're fairly
flat.
Just flat.
They're in bits, but this is kind of what I batter myself around in.
So to describe what we've just seen, it just looks like a normal shoe, but the principle is obviously wider. It's giving your foot room to do its thing on the inside. Is that what I'm getting at?
It feels like you're wearing socks, really.
Wow. And do you not find, like, I thought I was getting a bit of plantar fasciitis and I was feeling things. And what someone actually said to me was, it's actually me being in my bare feet all the time on the tiles in when we're in Dubai or here in Mozambique. I'm always in my feet because it's always hot, and I'm walking around, and my heel pain is actually coming from being in my bare feet, believe it or not, and having no support because there's no give in the tiles, and I'm on it 8 hours a day, or I'm in the house, or I'm pottering around.
Yeah, there's probably loads of mixed thoughts on it, I guess.
So what is, I suppose, what was the element of I suppose that the concept that was really like, you know what, this is now, obviously there is some support there. There's that buffer. I'm on about. Mine is quite obvious. Like, all I have to do is put on a pair of flip flops or even socks just to add something between me and the ground. That was my issue. But how does it feel? Do you feel in the first couple of days that, like, if you step on something, or is it like sore? You know, these are the questions I have about these kind of shoes.
Yeah. Now, I'm not affiliated with any barefoot shoes, by the way. If anyone wants to send me a pair, I'll take them. But
we'll take 3 pairs.
Yeah, pick them up. It take a bit of getting used to. The first few days I put them on, my heel was kind of sore, because when you're walking around, usually I'd be wearing runners all day, every day. But then I kind of like thought about it. It's like, if your foot is on this cushiony, soft pillow thing all the time, then you're probably not using all these small little muscles and little tendons and ligaments in your feet. So it just kind of made sense in my head physiologically that, like, if we're going to be like essentially animal, if we're going to think of humans as all this kind of crack, that, like, it makes sense to wear barefoot shoes. It hopefully strengthen up your feet and strengthen up your little mini muscles that are hiding in there. So yeah, I'm enjoying them so far. But again, it's so individual. Like, someone could hate them, the next person could absolutely love them. They're not the most comfortable thing in the world. It feels like you're in socks. So if you're out for like a long walk, or even like I'm cycling in and out to the shop, it's not that comfy. Like, again, it does feel like you're in socks, but I'd recommend people to give them a go anyways.
It's no, it is. It's just, look, I love when someone comes up with something new. I'm like, I've millions of questions that can go on, but it's maybe something, again, like, obviously the practicality of, if you're like me, I have a little bit of pain in the feet, but if I was to have something like that, wearing around the house to get used to is an element of adding it into your routine and your training and yada yada. You can continue on with that. When you look at the other question I had for you, then obviously you're meeting a lot of people. Iron sharpens irons. You're in a good club in Dublin and you're training fast. The other element of things is to kind of wear your heart in your sleeve when it comes to social media and posting, as Sean has alluded to. What was it that attracted you to the posting my running every day, or becoming a running influencer? Because eventually, when you get enough of a following, you become, I know that's probably not the intention when you do it, but what was it that brought you to the social media side of running?
Well, I've always been like kind of active on social media. I'd be making like videos of lads' holidays back in the day, and with
never to be shared again.
And like promoting the business. I'd be used to having myself on social media. I'm not shy to be on social media. I'm not shy to be myself online. Like, I am the way I am, and you can love me or hate me. That I just kind of put up stuff. I don't have any issue with it. And with running, I was like, the intention was kind of like, I put up a picture, say, with like the lads, whatever, after race. Clontarf half marathon was good fun or whatever. Like, delighted with my time. And it's like, I kind of like, I may as well make a video about what shoes I'm wearing. I may as well do a shoe review. And sure, what happens, happens. I really enjoy making the videos and don't have a problem with it. And it doesn't feel like any work to me. So it's like, I may as well put this up. It's what I'm really into. And if it motivates someone who wasn't into running to maybe give it a go, then even better. And if people don't like it, they can just scroll by it. If people do like it, I'll get people to watch it and they might enjoy it, gain more followers, build up a personal brand. And like, the main thing is like, why not? Do you know what I mean? Like, what reason would I not make videos of something I absolutely love doing?
It's class looking back in that journey, I suppose, that in a couple of years I've done this and this.
Yeah.
And one of the recent things you did was you got a VO2 max test and a lactate testing, and you can see you're going through the mask on you and all the rest, and people can actually see, okay, that's what you go through, all that. My question is, because we've had different people in the podcast talk about just do VO2 max, just do lactate threshold, and they've had that kind of, button of heads, not obviously in the podcast at the same time, but they're arguing stuff afterwards. And me and Eric aren't smart enough to argue any of them. Why both?
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, I'm right.
I'm not a scientist either, but one of my friends, Roisin, was looking for participants in her master's program. She's getting comparing two different protocols for VO2 max and lactate testing. So I was like, absolutely, I'll take that. If it gives me a little bit more of an accurate reading of where my thresholds are at, where my zones are. I know the watches, I use a Garmin. I don't know about you guys or the listeners, but
yeah, same.
It was very similar, actually, to be honest. But I just said I'd take the opportunity. Yeah, bang on. Yeah, my VO2 max on my watch was the same as the proper test.
So I know you're at an element of pretty fit and your consistency, because Garmin is very much built off the consistency. So it probably gave you quite a high reading. In terms of maybe I'm jumping ahead here. I'd love for you to continue this as well, because we are really interested in it. When you're looking at heart rate, if you can include, like, when your watch says this is my zone, how accurate were they?
Yeah. They were very, very close, within 2 or 3 beats.
Wow. I did not expect that.
Yeah, it was interesting because they say you can run at your lactate threshold for an hour, but like I personally think, I think mine was 172, say, for example. It was my lactate threshold. After that, I flooded with lactate and fatigue very, very quickly. But in a racing situation, if I was at that heart rate, I'd be under immense pressure, wouldn't be holding for an hour. So it's kind of like the research is here and there, and everyone's obviously individual, and depends if you're training more on your threshold side or training really aerobically, like where you hit that. So it was just interesting to find out what it actually was, but the Garmin was bang on with that. So,
and was that based on, because I know mine is done on age and it divides by and multiplies by and half my shoe size, and then all of a sudden I've got these zones that come out on the other side. Were you just doing the bog standard from signing up on Garmin, and then obviously training consistency, and then it's spitting out your average, your superior, you should be training, yada yada yada. But like, when you got onto that test, or you did both tests, what were your initial thoughts of both of them as soon as they were complete? And which then, were they both giving you pretty much the same answer, or are we ruining your friend's thesis in the masters, or what were the key signs or key indicators, and which one did you prefer?
Well, they were both they kind of go hand in hand together. So your VO2 max is kind of a nice to know number, but it's one that you can't really affect that much with training. It's your top end stuff, and like how much oxygen you can use per minute per kilo of body weight. It's something to do with your body weight and your lung capacity, essentially, how much oxygen you can actually use and take in. And with the lactate threshold, is probably the one that people would be better off knowing to implement into their training, because if you're training in and around your lactate threshold zone, you push that out a bit more and you're able to stay in and around that zone. you build that by doing loads of aerobic stuff. So between like easy enough pace, like zone 2 conversational stuff, stretches out the length of time you can run until you hit that lactate threshold where it starts to go off up. So it was nice to know a number. But again, having it on the Garmin already, if you're training in your zones, it's a little bit more advanced to be like training lactate threshold. And to be honest, I don't really do it that often myself. And I probably should. It could make a difference. But like the more serious guys would be on the track testing their lactate, making sure they're not going too hard at their track sessions, because you can overtrain then quite quickly and you're not going to be able to perform the next day.
To keep on that theme, Cian, you say the more serious guys, but the last couple of topics here has been like you find that extra couple of percent, the right runners and different things, and the VO2 max test. And one that I didn't know you could do, one of your videos you had about altitude training in Dublin. I thought Dublin was pretty flat. How'd you go about doing that?
Until you do Dublin Marathon, Sean.
Oh, yeah. Cool spot. I think it's Trilab out there on the out near the Red Cow direction. The guys are sound. It's cool. You're popping on a mask that basically reduces your oxygen intake and feels like you're at 3,000 or 4,000 feet. I don't know. Have you ever been up high?
I've never tried to run anywhere near that high. If I was anywhere near that height,
it's a different ball game. Really, really tough. Like heart rate through the roof at like slow paces. It's interesting. I'd say if you went, it'd be like going, like, you know, the way people go up to like wherever, Kenya on a training camp for a couple of weeks to just train at that altitude. You're obviously less oxygen, so your body's getting used to working with less oxygen. And you come back down to Dublin and plenty of oxygen, and you're flying around the place like a mad joke, you know.
Was it frustrating with the mask on and being like, I know I'm faster than this, guys, I swear?
It was a cool experience. Like, it's hard. Like, you have the ability to take off the mask if you want and breathe in fresh air, but it's like that thing where you're tricking yourself and it's like, no, I'm going to leave it on, but like recovering afterwards, like you're literally heaving for air. It's a cool experience.
You get it. Like, if anyone's ever been skiing, this is going to sound really amateur next to this, but when you have to walk with your skis, if you're, you know, even like 400 meters, because you're at 3,000 meters or, you know, 2,800, depending on which resort you're in, if you have to walk up a hill, even back to your hotel, you're like, at the end of it, like that, and myself and Sean did a trip to Canada and we went to this lake and we were up high, and the two of us at the time didn't realize, but we walked up about 100 steps from a viewing point and the two of us were bent over the car in an absolute jogger. But we didn't go, oh, we're at 3,000 meters here in the Canadian Rockies. Maybe that's the reason why. And
we had a good night the night before. That's what we went.
We did have it. We blamed it more on the alcohol than the altitude. Would you see benefit? Obviously, the science says there's benefit, but for Cian, would he consider benefit of adding that kind of element into his training? Tired, aching muscles, and overworked feet?
Discover Ultra Pure Ice Cold Menthol Gel, your instant, fast-acting, and cooling savior.
Powered by menthol and boosted by arnica, rosemary, eucalyptus, and peppermint essential oils, it's a powerhouse of natural recovery.
Massage Ultra Pure Ice Cold Menthol Gel into your legs, arms, back, neck, shoulders, or our personal favorite,
Hey, easy, Sean.
feet, and feel the instant cooling sensation.
Grab a tube today. Your body will thank you.
Proudly made in County Mayo by an Irish-owned, award-winning family business, Ultra Pure blends quality, care, and value into every product.
Available in pharmacies and health stores nationwide or shop online. Find out more at ultrapurelabs.ie or on our new website, anygivenrunday.com. Now, let's get back to this podcast.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think so. It makes sense scientifically and physiologically to be like, if your body has to operate at high capacity with minimum oxygen intake aerobically, I suppose, like it just makes sense that like the Kenyan running like performances, you know, like obviously the runners that come out of there are something else. They're top world class, train at altitude all their life, or living at altitude. Makes sense to add that couple of percent to put them above the rest of the pack. For sure.
Yeah, and I suppose it explains why so many training camps are happening down there now, is because if you can't beat them, join them and then try and beat them, I suppose. But when you compare someone who's born there, grew up there, they didn't know what 1,000 feet was because they've always been at 3,000. Like it makes it makes a hell of a big difference.
I have to go back to this, Cian. I know I asked around 20 minutes ago. 5K from 21 minutes down to 16:23, and now recently in Enfield, you did 15:30. Just if someone had to be listening to this podcast that would love to someday break sub 20, and if he was talking to you right now, what advice would you give me?
Run faster.
How hard is it? Yeah, make your legs go quicker. It's not that hard. Just staying with the consistent training, but definitely doing speed work and doing your target time specific intervals. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to be trying to do a 20-minute 5K, that's 4-minute kilometers by 5. Go out, warm up easy for 10, 15 minutes, do kilometer repeats at that target pace, take a little break in between, a minute or 2 minutes off, jogging, and repeat that 5 times. And I just build up to that. Do you know what I mean? If you're currently, say, a 21-minute 5K, if you're working at sub 4-minute pace for those 800 intervals or 1 kilometer intervals, it's only a matter of time. You just put them all together on race day, take a little gel beforehand and a double espresso and just put the head down. You know what I mean?
How is that suffering element for you when you're getting to like those? I know everyone suffers no matter what ability they're at, but that 3K and the last 2K when they say that race really begins and you're going for, let's say that PB you got in Enfield, that 15:30 you got. How was those last 2K trying to hold on? And did you do a 5K straight or how did you tackle it?
Absolute agony, lads. You just really are holding on for dear life. It's a very fast track, and there was a class field of athletes out there. Like loads of guys and girls were under 16 minutes. So just trying to hang on to that leading pack for as long as possible, and then just like taking it home. Do you know what I mean? I was under pressure at 3K. Like it started to slow up, and that's when you really need to like dig down and say, "Come on, you're after paying to be here. You're after driving all the way down from Dublin in the pissing rain to send it here. Like let's leave it all on the pitch and just putting the head down and getting stuck in, focusing on the breathing and leaving it all out there." Do you know what I mean? You don't want to be coming with the last kilometer and feeling like you have too much in the tank. You want to be stumbling over the line in a 5K, especially.
When you say focus on the breathing, running that fast, are you talking about like 2 steps breathe in, 2 steps breathe out? Are you talking big deep breaths? What are you talking about there?
For me, in a 5K like that, you're operating at the highest, like you're all out from the start. So like I'm in and out through my mouth, like heavy the whole way. Not just as much air in as possible, as much carbon dioxide out as possible, and just focusing on the breathing. Step, 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 step. Keep an eye on the guy in front of you and just keep picking people off. And to be honest, for me, I wasn't looking at the watch. I was just going off pure effort for the whole thing. That works for me race wise. Puts less pressure, I feel. Do you know what I mean? If you're looking at your paces and you're kind of like, oh, I'm off here, or I'm going a bit slow, or you feel like you're going too fast sometimes. Because I was kind of aiming for 16. I didn't think I'd do that with the 15:30. I think my previous PB was just under 50, just under 16. The Tom Brennan on New Year's Day, and I wasn't expecting that. I didn't think I was in PB shape, but just on the day, you're just not looking at the watch. You're going off effort, leaving it all out there, and hanging on to faster lads than you.
I know that feels all too well.
When you look at that, we always say, give me a marathon any day. Would you say the same over a 5K?
Well, the start of 2025, after doing Dublin last year, October gone, I was like, right, I'll focus on some shorter stuff and try and get the speed done for the start of the year. That's supposed to be over now. But like, again, I'm really enjoying the slightly shorter stuff. So 5s and 10s throughout the early part of the year and the Dublin City Half and the Westport Half Marathon. I'm just focusing on the slightly shorter stuff, getting the speed up. When you say, would you rather a 5K or a marathon? I think I haven't decided yet what my favorite race distance is. I like short, but it's absolute agony. But it's a different kind of agony than a marathon. Do you know what I mean? Because I haven't ran natively long in a good while. Now, I will be towards the end of the year. I'm doing marathons again. So I need to start putting the longer runs in. But I think I prefer the slightly shorter stuff. 10 to 10K is nice distance. Half marathon's enjoyable as well. Without you're recovering a lot quicker, and you can go straight back at it compared to the marathon, which is obviously a long old graft. You know yourself.
And you're never more tired than the couple. Well, you recover quite quickly after your lessons, but for the week or so afterwards, you're like, oh, I'm tired mentally, physically. Yeah, you can do it, but you're just tired.
Yeah, the marathon does take a lot out of you for sure. Like it takes, like after Dublin, I was like, for 2 or 3 weeks, I was like, right, what's next? I had to like really gear myself up to do I did like
easy
5K around Christmas time. Yeah.
Yeah, you kept yourself going. You did a race on Stevens's Day then, and then did another one New Year's Day. So you really kept it clean there over the holidays.
Yeah, I did. I'd had the Fields of Athenry 10K down in Galway. That's a brilliant race, actually. If anyone's thinking of doing that Stevens Day, it's class. Very enjoyable course. The whole town is out. That was a 10K PB as well, which I was buzzing with. And then the 5K New Year's Day. Yeah, it's great fun. The racing is class. I'm really hooked on the whole day out with the racing. I like making the videos about the races. Again, as you said earlier on, the Dublin City Half Marathon video really gave me a online, loads of new followers and stuff on the Instagram, and the TikTok with that video went really well. And it's when you get a video that goes like that. Sorry, I'm going slightly off topic here.
No, go ahead.
Like reinforces, keep doing these videos, and like people reach out to you, like you guys reach out after that video and stuff like that, and people asking for coaching and stuff online, which is cool, and like brands and stuff getting in touch about sending you on protein powders and sending you out now a pair of runners. It's really fun. It's nice. It's enjoyable.
I'm noticing you have that rail in your shop now full of all the free runners you're after getting. Why are you selling them? You're selling them for 200 and you're after getting them for free, Cian. What's going on there? Cian, can I ask, and again, it's a personal one. We won't cut it out if you answer it incorrectly. No, the transition from party, alcohol, hand in hand with running and lifestyle change. How difficult, maybe it wasn't difficult, or how did you find that transition, and how was the whole experience in finding your new kind of outlet?
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't sure if you were going to bring this one up, but yeah, in college went slightly off the rails for a while, a couple of years of party, DJing and stuff, and that was when I wasn't training at all. Letting myself go for sure. Chinese spice bags every night of the week. 3 or 4 nights a week. Yeah, and then I suppose, do you know what put an end to that period of my life personally was COVID. You know, you're not around the same people anymore. Everyone goes off home to their own counties. Friend groups dissipated, and everyone was like, you couldn't go out. You know what I mean? And that's when, like, I was like, wait, what am I doing? Like, this is fake fun. There's different things you can be doing that are way better crack. Do you know what I mean? And that's when I kind of started training a bit more, and home gym set up with concrete blocks out the back garden, and the mad rush to get a few dumbbells online, and got into surfing then, and a few bits and bobs, being back home in Mayo, moving back from Dublin. And that's when I started the business as well. So that was a big change for me as a person. Feel like a new man now, actually.
that's an insane change. Going back to you've made that change. All the races you've stuff done. Like I wrote down Fields of Athenry right there to bring me back to this topic, because I hadn't heard that before on Stevens' Day 10K. For people listening and some different races, you seem to travel a lot for this. Like you were down in Westport doing that, the half marathon. Obviously, you did the Dublin half marathon as well. Yeah. What races do you think people should know more about? Like maybe that Fields of Athenry and Stevens' Day that you talked about.
I'm a big fan of like supporting your local races. I'll put up posts and stories about that. I'll go to every local race. If I'm able to go to a race and it's near enough to me, I'll be there. If it fits in with training, but like that will obviously, like I can train around that, because you can use races as kind of training runs and sessions essentially. So big fan of supporting, like most of them are going to be GA clubs, athletics clubs, smaller like charity events, stuff like that. And I think that it's great for people to be able to go to them and not feel like they have to raise it, but you're probably supporting a club, you're probably supporting a charity, and it's a great way to feel like you're part of the running community, because it's very individual sport, as we all know. But there's so many people that are individual that don't realize so many other people are running. And the amount of people I meet at races that say, oh, the videos and stuff is cool as well. But races that I recommend doing are whatever's one is closest to you. If you go on to, there's loads of websites for them. Keep an eye on Facebook pages, ask around. If you're not in a running club, join one. And if you're not, but if you know, there's loads of Facebook groups and running calendar.
Races and all the rest,
Pop-up races.
Any Given Run Day podcast events page. Just throwing it in. Trying to throw it in there. If you're running a race and you want it advertised, put it up there.
Deadly. And that's the great thing that you're doing.
Off the back of that, I have to ask, because obviously people know you now for the races and the report and the recaps and stuff like that. The videos you do are class. You're going to all these races. Some of them you said are not races, they're training events, and you're on Strava, you're very active. Does it ever get in your head, the starting line, oh, I might put up a half marathon this time. I better try and beat that at this race, because people are going to be asked about it and be like, oh, that wasn't a great race for you, Cian. 2-3 minutes off your PB. What's going on? Is everything all right? Does that ever play with you?
Slightly. I feel like it's hard not to race a race. Do you know what I mean? I'm quite a competitive person by nature. So if I'm toeing the line and I see someone kind of looking a bit serious,
giving you the side eye.
I'll try and cruise as best I can. But it's like the difference between knowing when enough is enough or knowing when you've done enough. Like if I have my A races and my B races and the ones that are like just a bit of fun for the day out, and it's not about winning, it's just about kind of enjoying it. So if there was a bit of a niggle or something during a race, I wouldn't be running through it. I don't think that's worth that if it's not your A race. Now, if it's Dublin Marathon and you're on for a
you just gotta go. You gotta go.
You gotta go. Do you know what I mean?
What defines an A race for you, Cian? So like is there different goals, different times of year, the shorter races now? You've got certain ones for PBs and build up through the rest of the year. Is that where you're going at the moment? Or is there certain races that have your heart? You're like, I have to be best there.
I'll kind of pencil in a few like that for sure. The Clontarf Half Marathon on the 5th of July will be the next A race. So I don't think there's anything in between there. And maybe something small, but nothing hectic. But at the Clontarf Half, I'll be looking to get a PB in that, hopefully. All going well. If there's no strong headwind coming down the way like there usually is. And then I'm doing Valencia Marathon at the end of the year as well. That'll be another kind of big one. It's a fast course and stuff, you know yourself. So I'll be kind of marking that in as the A race. But then again, Dublin is hard not to race.
That crowd.
That crowd is insane. Like, do you know what I mean? And everyone, I again, as I mentioned earlier on, I got the ticket kind of last minute off one of the guys who picked up an injury a couple of weeks out before just last year. Everyone was saying it's going to be the best day ever. Like, you're going to have so much fun. I was kind of nervous about it because I hadn't done that much long run training. But Jesus, Dublin Marathon is just unbelievable.
And is that the first? That's the first time you broke sub 3 hour.
Yeah, that was my second marathon. Yeah.
So you've only done 2 marathons today.
Yeah, Rome back in 2023 and Dublin just gone.
Cian, starting line. And you're going, right, I'm going from 4:25 is the last time I've done this. I haven't quite got that distance again. And are you thinking from the get-go, we're going sub 3 in this one, or are you just like, it's a fun day, I'll hang on for as long as I can? What's going through your mind?
I didn't have a target. I knew I'd do it a bit faster, but I didn't have any target time. I thought I'd run 3:15. If I ran 3:15 in Dublin at the current level of fitness I was last October, I would have been over the moon. And then I remember very specifically, I caught my housemate who said he wasn't going to be out in the course, and his partner shouting my name at maybe 32k. Go on! And I saw I was kind of feeling good, fueled well, was well tapered, and I was like, I saw the 3-hour balloon just ahead of me, and I was like, right, I'm just gonna go and catch that fucking balloon right now. And then just kept on plowing home. I basically sprinted home the last 5k. I think there were 3-minute 40k's the last 5 or 6k home.
Jesus.
Yeah, I just had it in the tank somehow. It's just the consistent training, but I wasn't expecting to go sub 3 at all in Dublin.
And unlike Rome, there's no barbecue at the 35k mark, so you're good.
Oh, No, exactly. I wasn't stopping for it either.
Do we put too much pressure on ourselves? And maybe we're guilty of it with the podcast, of asking people their times, and the watch says, and predictor says, and Strava says, and this says, like you've just done, you just said, look, I'll go a bit faster. How fast? I don't know. But are we probably setting our own mental blocks on the times we can run?
I think definitely 100%. I rarely go out with target time in mind. I try not to get too hung up on that. I just really enjoy the running. And I find that when you're not putting too much pressure on, I have to be running for, say, Dublin. I have to be running whatever pace per kilometer. For a Dublin marathon, I wasn't looking at my watch either. I was just like, how do you feel? You feel all right, tip away there, keep going, soak in the atmosphere. And even with like the 5K, 10K stuff, I'm not upset if I don't get a PB. I'm not annoyed at myself for being off. I just kind of enjoy them. Do you know what I mean? Now, maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. Some people work different ways. I know if you put targets on and train specifically for those goal times, you're probably going to get there a bit quicker. But just the way I like to do it, and the way I feel like it keeps the love for the sport there, if you're not putting too much pressure on yourself and not getting beat up if you don't hit your PBs, not getting beat up if you're not hitting your paces and your splits. Like, we're only human at the end of the day, and it is just running. So yeah, I'm not getting too beat up on it and worried about it really.
So, Cian, do you reckon if Sean stopped putting pressure on himself for this 20-minute 5K, do you reckon he'd be able to do it?
Well, a little bit of pressure is good, I think, Sean, but a couple of target time intervals for your target pace, and just don't beat yourself up too much. But yeah, you can have good pressure, stress that's unnecessary. Just do your best. That's all you can do, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna need to quit the podcast. So keep talking about so scratchy more pressure on myself.
Yeah, I can't talk. I did 24 the other day and I was delighted with myself. It's a long road back. Next year, 16 minutes, Cian. I'm with you. Don't worry about it.
Here we go. Forward to seeing it.
So, Cian, people listening to this may want to pick up what it is you're doing. They may want to follow along online. You have turned yourself around in terms of your business, your life. You're not that it was bad, but in terms of a runner, you have become a very accomplished runner. You're running at very good times that myself and Sean are jealous of. What are some key basic pieces of advice that you can give a listener today who's sitting here going, I'll never be that fast, I'll never be this good, like myself, going, did Cian run that quick? Have you any
I nearly need to write that.
Basic nuggets?
I think, like, for anyone there's obviously going to be people who are like getting into running right now, who are plateauing right now, who were at their best and now are on the decline. I think the main thing is just to try and keep the love of it there. Again, don't be having too much pressure on yourself. At the end of the day, it's running. It's supposed to be enjoyable. Like, there's no point in getting beat up if you're not hitting times, you're getting slower. Like, life gets in the way, and it isn't the be all and end all. Tips: train consistently, take care of yourself, listen to your body, get your strength work done, join a club if it's your local club, try out a race. Again, you don't have to be at your peak fitness to go for a race. You can check yourself out there. It's not about winning. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's a nice vibe. It's a great community to run, and it's really good for you. Like, if it's only going to be runners listening to this, I'm sure, but we all know that runner's high, that great feeling you get after smashing a nice long run, just getting out when you in the rain. If you had a plan to get a run done, getting it done, you get to put the feet up then and enjoy yourself. Meeting a friend you haven't seen for a while for a run, another great way to stay at it. Drive somewhere else to switch up the scenery. It's very easy to get bored of, say, for example, Phoenix Park or the seafront or wherever your local area. It's nice to switch things up like that. It kind of keeps it interesting. You can make holidays out of running, book a race abroad and make a holiday of it.
Barcelona Marathon with any given run day next year. Good man, Cian, you're good at this.
See you there. That's what I say, really. Like, do you know what I mean? It's obviously not for everyone. Do you know what I mean? People like their own things, and there's loads of other sports you can get involved in. But for me, anyways, running's just great. Like, it's really changed my life and can probably change everybody else's as well. Just enjoy it.
Well, Kane, it's been class listening to you for the last hour or so on the podcast and the videos and the content. I keep coming back to it just because I do a small bit of my own kind of working area. Just how you're so consistent and not all coming out is pretty cool. And the ideas and stuff you have and your different memes and stuff. You had one where you kind of look like you're falling off a box and end up just being your hand with a note in the runner. I'm not making sense of that right now, but I know you know what I'm talking about. And if people want to look good when they're running, they should check out 35 Vintage as well. You might get some class old school Aston Villa jerseys there as well. I'm not saying you definitely would or not, but there's some pretty cool jerseys you see in that shop. Cian, absolutely phenomenal listening to you on the podcast and the running and how you've evolved over the last 18 months to 2 years is just, those numbers are just outstanding, man. That's unreal.
Thanks very much, lads. I really appreciate that. Legends.
And that is it for this week's episode of the Any Given Monday podcast. Myself, Cian, and Eric. Take care.